related deaths. Joining me now is Congressman Adam Smith, Democrat of Washington State, and the ranking member on the House Armed Services Committee. Yesterday, Donald Trump said that Iran was ready to make a deal, but that he was not, quote, because the terms aren't good enough yet. And of course, he never said what those terms are, other than Iran must give up nuclear ambitions. He did say that several countries vowed to help the U.S. reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but declined to name them after he leaned on the UK and other countries to send warships to the strait to protect tankers. Is there a strategy here that you can identify, Congressman?
Well, there's no path to achieving that strategy. It's hard to figure out what the strategy is. You can sort of cobble it together between all the different comments, but there is no path to achieving what that strategy would be. And I mean, it's got two basic parts to it. One, they want to degrade Iran's military capability, which is fine. And they've been doing it for the last 2.5 weeks now. Frankly, Israel's been doing it for longer than that. But to what level? What's an acceptable level of degrading their military capability? The administration has not made it clear what that is. And the part of the problem leads into the second thing that they're trying to do is, okay, so we degrade them. We blow up a bunch of missiles. We blow up, drone factories, a bunch of ships, whatever. If the Iranian regime is still in place and still hostile, they are capable of rebuilding, which brings us to the second objective, which would be to change that, either to eliminate the regime and have it be replaced with some new group of people in Iran who actually want to stop exporting revolution and terrorism and focus on Iran, or even if the bad people are still in charge, Trump has effectively broken them, would be the goal. So they wouldn't dare be hostile to U.S. interests going forward. There's no evidence that they're making progress towards achieving that second goal at all. However much they may be degrading Iran's military capability, when this is all over said and done, it seems like you're going to have a hardline Iranian regime with friends in Russia, friends in China, an ability to rebuild. And let us not forget the cost. You mentioned the Strait of Hormuz. This is costing us between $1 billion and $2 billion a day. The debt's going up. We've lost the lives of 13 service members. Countless civilians have been killed. The global economy has been disrupted. Of course, we have the bombing of the girls' school in Iran that is just an enormous tragedy. So the cost of all this is enormous, and there's no clear path towards achieving the objectives that the Trump administration will occasionally talk about.
Now, our condolences go to the families of the 6 U.S. service members who were killed this week when their refueling aircraft crashed in Iraq while serving U.S. operations against Iran. The Pentagon says it's still investigating what happened, but has ruled out hostile or friendly fire as the cause of the crash. That brings the U.S. death toll thus far to 13 service members and one who died of a medical emergency. Meanwhile, more than 2,000 people have died across the region so far. As the ranking member on House Armed Services, what are your thoughts on the human costs we've already seen?
I think they're enormous, and I think this is a lesson that supposedly we had learned. And look, after 9/11, after Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait and everything we were trying to deal with and all of that in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya to some degree to deal with Muammar Gaddafi, there was this feeling at the end of the Cold War that we were the world's sole remaining superpower. We had a massive amount of military might, and we could sort of shape the world. We could take care of these bad guys and these bad governments and build something in its place. Well, what supposedly we learned over the course of the last 25 years is that was a heck of a lot more difficult than it looked, and it never turned out the way you thought it would. It frequently turned out worse, and at an enormous cost in lives, in money, and just the disruption of all of these countries. So Trump said during the campaign, I've learned that lesson, I'm not going to do it. And here we are once again relying on the military, on blowing stuff up, to think that that's somehow going to leave something better at the end of it. It just doesn't work as simply as it seems. And I understand the impetus. I mean, Iran is a terrible regime doing terrible things. If there was some way to simply remove them and get to a better place, I'm not opposed to that. But we see the cost and we also see the uncertainty. You absorb the cost, the lives lost, the disruptions, and then you get to the end of it and, oh gosh, Iran's still there and we still have the problem. This was not the right approach, in my view, to containing the threat from Iran.
Now, U.S. allies in East Asia are on alert after North Korea fired several ballistic missiles towards the sea off its coast during joint military exercises between the U.S. and South Korea yesterday. This comes as the U.S. has reportedly started moving air defense systems out of South Korea to serve its military operations in the Mideast. Congressman, are we leaving U.S. interests vulnerable elsewhere in service to this war?
Absolutely. I'm very glad you asked me that question. I was actually on with some of your colleagues on MS Now, and one of them asked me this question, and I lost track of it and didn't directly answer it. Yes, U.S. readiness is being hurt by this because we are putting a lot of our munitions, a lot of our troops, a lot of our forces are concentrated on this war with Iran. And obviously that is depleting our munitions, but we're cannibalizing our forces in other parts of the world. We've also seen the impact on the war in Ukraine. Russia is getting a lifeline from the boost in oil prices, and then President Trump foolishly has removed the sanctions on Russian oil, at least temporarily, in a way that strengthens Russia, weakens our hand in stopping them in Ukraine. And yes, in Asia, both North Korea and China have to be aware of the fact that we are distracted, that we are pulling resources out of Asia and we are weaker there than we otherwise would be, and our forces are not as ready as they should be. Again, that is a cost of war. It's not as simple as apparently Secretary Hegseth and Donald Trump think it is. We're going to just go in, we're going to talk tough, we're going to put up these video game like memes and blow a bunch of stuff up, and then we flex and we win, and the world is the way we want it to be. I just wish people knew that that is a dangerous, dangerous way to approach policy and the use of our military forces.
Well, I can say you always answer direct on Politics Nation with me, so let me ask you this. The partial government shutdown over DHS funding hit the 1-month mark yesterday, and there's no apparent end in sight. Initially, Democrats forced the shutdown, but have since offered concessions. Now Republicans are rejecting Democrats' bills to fund DHS agencies like TSA while demanding reforms to ICE and Border Patrols in their tactics. Where do things stand on the Hill, Congressman?
Republicans are playing politics with it right now. Now, they accuse us of that, but remember, the reason we did this is because ICE is out of control, violating the rights of Americans all over this country. No probable cause, no due process, excessive use of force, unchecked and unaccountable. So those reforms are important, and we should keep fighting for them. But there's a simple solution to this, and that is what you alluded to. Fund TSA, fund the Coast Guard, fund the rest of the Department of Homeland Security, just don't fund ICE. If you're not going to reform it, we're not going to vote for those funds, but we will readily vote for the funds elsewhere. Instead, what the Republicans want, desperate to distract from this disastrous war that Donald Trump has driven us into and the worsening economic news that we hear on a daily basis, they want to say it's all those terrible Democrats playing politics and they won't fund TSA. We will fund TSA. You put it on the floor, we'll vote for it. So right now, Republicans are playing politics with that. We got a simple solution. Fund the DHS portions that we all agree on, and don't fund ICE. We'll see if they change their mind and stop playing politics in the next week or two, because we need to fix this problem. TSA agents need to be paid.
All right. Thank you, Congressman Adam Smith. We're going to continue this conversation with my next guest, South Carolina